The Arizona Cardinals now fall to 7-9 on the season, and congratulations to the Los Angeles Rams that has now got another division title under their belt. But the Arizona Cardinals continue to find different ways to lose heartbreaking games. Let's dive right into and recap Cardinals versus Rams. Let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack up that like button and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. On this channel, we're covering the Arizona Cardinals news, breaking news, conversational pieces, post-game reactions, everything surrounding your favorite team. So subscribe it up. It's absolutely for free. Alright, everybody, let's go and get started here. Let's go and recap here the Arizona Cardinals versus the Los Angeles Rams Week 17 matchup. And I want to start off this video with just a little positivity, right? Because honestly, I'm one of those guys that a lot of people kind of go to when it feels like they're upset or they want a crazy, outlandish, an angry take. People like to come to me, and that's probably what this channel was kind of founded on. So I want to give a little positivity, and then I'll get to the negative stuff. And I have a little bit more negative stuff than I have positive stuff. But let me start off with providing some sort of flowers over to a guy that I don't really provide very much flowers to, right? And that's Kyler Murray. Now, statistically, I want to be very clear here. This is probably one of Kyler Murray's best games statistically. Now, let me try to explain and what I'm trying to say here, right? Kyler Murray actually commanded this offense pretty darn well in this game. He finished off this game 33 of 48, 321 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Now, if we can do away with those interceptions, the Cardinals could potentially have won this game. But in the grand scheme of things here, Kyler Murray, the way that he played this game is what people were expecting for this entirety of the year for him to play like this, right? If this offense and Kyler Murray played like this, with this numbers, with commanding the offense, with, these chunk plays and not always dinking and dunking, I think Cardinal fans would be a little bit more, what's the word I'm trying to say? A little bit more, let's provide them a pass, but let's call it like it is. The Arizona Cardinals offense has been stagnant. It's based off of dink and dunk, and we usually don't get numbers like this from Kyler Murray. So if I want to provide some sort of flowers, I would say Kyler Murray had a good game statistically, right? If we saw more of this, I think people wouldn't be as upset as to Kyler Murray like they are now. Now, let's talk about those 2 interceptions, shall we? There's 2 interceptions that were costly in this game. One of them that was kind of forced over to Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, I do get both sides of the coin. Some people say Marvin Harrison Jr. should have jumped for it. Now, I do feel like it was a little mistimed from Marvin Harrison Jr. jumping up, but he was double coverage at the end of the day, right? Now, it was one of those situations where, the Cardinals were, I believe it was 4th and 10, and he kind of had to, throw the ball or try to convert that down. But it's not the decision as to going down to Marvin Harrison Jr. in double coverage. This is what we've been seeing from Kyler Murray for years, right? Regardless if it's 3rd and 1, 2nd and 1, right? A situation where he almost kind of gets a little too greedy and goes for it all. And I get it, right? Hindsight, if it worked, he would have been a genius. He probably would have recreated Hail Murray. But at the end of the day, I don't know, you kind of have to pick your battles, and that probably wasn't the best decision. Now, I get both sides of the coin. Like I said, some people blame Marvin, some people blame Kyler, but if you're a year 6 quarterback, you got to be making better decisions than that, right? It almost kind of feels like he puts the ball in harm's way, trying to get his playmakers to make a play, but Marvin Harrison Jr. is a rookie at the end of the day, and I don't think he was going to make that play regardless, right? And we also did see another interception where he was tipped triple coverage in a few games back, where he threw the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. and it wasn't a good play, right, at the end of the day. So that was the first interception. The second interception, like I said, we continue to find different ways to lose games. He completely doinks Trey McBride in the head, and the ball goes up in the air. Now, Trey McBride, he does blame himself. I don't know if you guys saw the post-game interview. He ends up coming out and saying that for the most part, whenever they run that play in practice, it's usually like pretty spot on. Like the coverage that they got, that was the play to go to, right? But unfortunately, there was a little too much sauce, there was a little too much juice, because Kyler Murray threw a freaking rocket. Now, could Trey have turned a little quicker? Yes, he definitely could have, right? But man, that rocket was sailing and hit him straight in the head, and boom, the ball went up, and obviously the rest is history. The Rams ended up getting an interception, which I know there's some people out there saying that wasn't an interception, but I mean, that's the way that the referees ruled it, so unfortunately we gotta kind of have to live off of what they said at the end of the day. But there's a lot of questionable things that happened within that last drive, right? There was a lot of momentum for the Cardinals. Even Kyler Murray and Jonathan Gannon said that they felt like they were going to win that game, right? Like everything, momentum was in our favor. It's just, if you rewatch the play, Kyler Murray knew where he was going with the ball regardless. Like, rewatch the playback. His eyes don't leave the left-hand side of the field. Like, it's just constantly drops back, looks, realize that there was pressure coming, and sends a dart over to Trey McBride. And I get it, right? Hindsight, there's people out there saying that Marvin Harrison Jr. would have potentially been open if he just gave it a little bit, like a split second more, and maybe even drop back a little bit more. Marvin Harrison Jr. eventually did beat his guy up the middle in the end zone. Now, there was another specific play earlier in the game where Marvin Harrison Jr. was wide open in a deep shot, and Kyler Murray didn't see him again, right? So it's kind of one of these things where, I do want to provide some sort of flowers to Kyler because I did like the way that he played statistically and the way he commanded the offense, but there's still those situational things where if you want to be a franchise quarterback or if you want to be a playoff caliber team, these are the type of things that you need to fix, right? And unfortunately, the Cardinals still have been able to fix it, right? But I also want to provide some more flowers here. The Arizona Cardinal defense, they came out to freaking play this game. Like, they came out to play. They held this Los Angeles Rams offense to 13 points. Like, that's kind of unheard of. I was coming into this game, I thought we were going to get blown out. Like, to be honest, I thought we were going to get blown out of the park of this game. So you got to give kudos here to the Arizona Cardinals defense. Now, I don't know why this defense didn't show up last week versus the Panthers. It's one of those things, man. You either fight for pride, maybe the matchup is just better, right? We also do realize that the Cardinals did play them in week 2 and absolutely blew them out of the water with like 41-10 beatdown. The Cardinals absolutely beat them down in week 2. So I thought that the Rams were going to try to pay us back, but the Rams offense didn't look as good as I thought that they were going to. You could attribute that to Nick Riley's defense or the defense just in general, but overall, the defense did a very, very good job to put the Cardinals in a position to win. And guess what? We were in a position to win. Another opportunity where we were right there, and unfortunately, the ball falls to an interception, almost kind of similar to that Vikings game where we had everything in our control, right? All we needed was a field goal, and Kyler Murray, unfortunately, throws another pick, right? So there's a lot of frustration coming from Cardinal fans right now in this game. Michael Carter had to step up because James Conner only had like 4 carries in this game. So Michael Carter looked really good, but this is not a surprise. People wanted Michael Carter to make the 53-man roster in September. I don't understand it. I don't get it, right? A couple other positive things. Trey McBride hit over 1K yardage this game, and then he got his first touchdown of the season as well, which is wild, right? We got 1 game left and he finally got himself a touchdown. Like, super crazy to be talking about in a scenario like that. But for the most part, Kyron Williams was held down pretty good. He only finished off this game with like 13 carries, 56 yards, 1 touchdown. Puka Nacua was going to get his yardage regardless. This guy's an absolute freak of a nature, and he's going to get his yardage. So the interceptions were costly for the Cardinals, and not just that, Kyler Murray was also on the ground 4 times. He got sacked 4 times. And then for the much flowers that I provide the defense in terms of they came out to play, the whole, we're not providing the pressure or the sacks that we need to win a game, right? The big shift, momentum, swinging type plays, like that's another kind of something that's always going to rear its ugly head, right, for Arizona Cardinal fans, because that's what we were also clamoring about. But the Cardinals need to go after a pass rusher, and that was in that was in the offseason as well as in the trade deadline. And Monty Ossenfort decided to go Baron Browning, which I still do think he's a good rotational piece, but he's nowhere near the level of an X factor or a closer or anything like that, right? So the Cardinals kind of put themselves in a situation. It's unfortunate that we started off 6-4 and now are at 1-5 after the bye week, and that's something that people aren't talking about very much, that the Cardinals are 1-5 after the bye week. That's a failure, man, and I'm sorry for the people out there that feel like this Arizona Cardinals team, because Kyler and Jonathan Gannon came out and said there's some positivity because of like kind of where we are at with the wins, right, compared to last year, but you effed up, man. You absolutely messed up. The fact that the Cardinals are 1-5 right now. You were 6-4 in the bye week, and then after the bye week, you're 1-5. Why aren't we talking about this very much, right? And as a whole in the season, people are going to say to themselves, "Oh, well, nobody thought we were going to be in this position, right? 7 wins, nobody thought we were going to be in this position." But you failed. You absolutely failed. You got swept by the Seattle Seahawks. You had an opportunity to beat the Vikings. You couldn't do it. You beat down on a team in the Patriots, right, which gave us a little bit of hope in terms of playoff berth. But then you absolutely, lose in overtime versus the Panthers. And of course, we know how this Rams game went. Like, the Arizona Cardinals fumbled any opportunity that they might have had to have some sort of positive momentum as a team going into 2025. Right now, people still have questions. People still have more questions than they do have answers heading into 2025. Is Kyler the guy? Are we going to spend amount of money to make this defense, better than they are? Because I'm gonna come out and say it. They exceeded expectations. The offense, it's wishy-washy, man. The offense is wishy-washy. They want to come out every once in a while that they'll show up good here, but the defense has exceeded expectations. Have they had games where they absolutely SHIT the bed? Of course, right? They did, and it's also including in that Panthers game. They didn't do very good in that game, but for the most part, if you look at the entirety of the season, they absolutely have exceeded expectations, in my opinion. The offense, on the other hand, which was supposed to be the bright spot, was not at all. And especially when you dominate time of possession, right? We had the ball 36 minutes and 55 seconds, so they're 23 minutes and 5 seconds. There's 9 points, man. 9 points is all we could have mustered. Now, there was opportunities for the Cardinals to potentially hit another field goal. Jonathan Gannon decided not to do it. So it's also on the coaching staff as well to try to get a little greedy and try to convert these fourth downs that obviously the Cardinals weren't able to do. So it's a lot of accumulation, man. It's a lot of accumulation as to why the Cardinals ended up losing to the Rams. But that's what it is. The Rams are a playoff team, and the Arizona Cardinals are not a playoff team, right? We're not able to win these close games. And Jonathan Gannon feels like things are close, right? We're a explosive play or two away from winning a game. And although he might be right, what people remember is the win-loss rate, right? At the end of the year, that's what people will remember, right? And the fact that we're 1-5 after the bye week. So if you want to be positive, that's completely fine. But this is not the right trend for your team to finish off a season at all. Like I said, if you want to take the flowers and if you want to be positive about the 3 more wins from one year to the next, that's fine. Go ahead and do it. Do they have an opportunity to still finish off the season with 8 wins? They do. They do against the 49ers, but we'll see, man. We'll see what team shows up. We don't know what the team's going to show up here at home. I'm curious to figure out how the fans are going to be able to, react to how the Cardinals lost this game. I'm curious to figure out what the attendance is going to look like here in State Farm Stadium. But at the end of the day, the way I look at the season is it's kind of a failure, honestly. You can't start off 6-4 and finish off after the bye week at 1-5. You just can't do that. You can't. So, ladies and gentlemen, what are your thoughts here on Cardinals versus Rams? Let me know in the comments below. Now, one last thing here. I know some people are going to be reaching out to me and saying, "Oh, I don't know what you want from Kyler Murray, this and that." Where I gave him his flowers, right? I provided him his flowers. I said that he actually did play statistically a good game, and he was commanding the offense very, very well in this game. But at the end of the day, man, people are going to remember the 1-5, and as a franchise quarterback and paying the amount of money that he's going to get paid, or that he is getting paid, all we can say right now is the question marks are still there. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Let me know in the comments below what are your thoughts on this game. Have a great rest of your day, and as always, go Cardinals.